is Mexico City, home to some of the world's biggest sports fans. Arena Coliseo is a mecca for anyone crazy about Mexican wrestling.
I'm not sure who's the scariest, the men or the women. Mexicans are mad about wrestling, but they're even madder about food. In this programme, I'll be cooking some simple, delicious recipes that should even keep these guys happy. Welcome to Mexican Food Made Simple!
My name is Thomasina Myers. I'm a chef and I run 4 Mexican restaurants in London. I'm in Mexico hunting down some remarkable cooks to find out exactly how they do it.
Look at these tomatoes. They're amazing. Que grande, grandote.
Then, back in my kitchen, I'm going to show you my simple twist on some Mexican dishes you can cook at home.
Just going to dice them up.
Later, I'll be dishing up the perfect summer soup, corn and green chili. I'll be creating the king of club sandwiches, a Mexican torta, and a simple but really pretty pudding, poached plums in a rose syrup. And I'll be sinking my teeth into a local delicacy.
Crickets and grasshoppers. In Mexico, they actually eat them.
This is the Central de Abastos, the huge food market in Mexico's culinary capital, Oaxaca.
Ingredients don't get fresher than this. I've got courgette flowers, I've got the white corn, I've even got the leaves from the courgette plant. These ingredients make up sopa de guia, my favourite Oaxacan soup. Let's go make it.
The woman I think makes the best sopa de guia in Mexico lives in the little town of Teotitlán de Valle in the foothills of the Sierra Juarez Mountains outside Oaxaca. Her name is Abigail Mendoza, and I've come to her restaurant to see how she does it. In Mexico, they never throw anything away, so we're actually using the leaves of the courgette plant. Only the soft ones, though. That's the courgette leaves. Then it's time for the courgette fruit. So now we're putting in these little lovely baby courgettes. Okay, so now that we've got all the shoots ready and the corn, we're going to put it into the boiling water to start cooking. The last bit of the courgette plant to go into the soup are the flowers.
Bueno, ahorita vamos
See?
para poner la flor.
So really we just need to blanch the leaves and the flowers, which means just cook them until they're soft, but they keep all that lovely colour, all that lovely orange and vivid green. Add a bit of corn flour to thicken it and leave to cook. This soup is served with a really good salsa, and for a good salsa you need a good chili.
Chile en zapoteco es jiniaj. Jiniaj.
Okay, so this is a chili I've never seen before. In Zapotec, it's called jiniaj.
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 Jiniaj. Okay, I've never seen this chili before. Again, there are hundreds and hundreds of varieties of chilies in Mexico.
Pero es
This is just one of
muy
them.
picoso.
She's saying this is really, really hot. So let's find out how it tastes in a salsa. I'm just going to try a little bit of it now, because I love salsa.
Cuidado, porque pica.
That is really hot. It's delicious though. All that chili flavour. That is really, really beautiful and so healthy. Chilies are good for you. It's all good for you. Finally, it's time to tuck in. That is absolutely delicious. The pureness of the flavour of the corn, of the courgette flour, all those little shoots, and then the seasoning of that delicious garlicky chili sauce. This soup feels like it's doing me the world of good. I love it. Now, here's my corn soup. In Mexico, they eat soups with almost every meal. I think it's because they're a nation of thrifty cooks. They love to make stocks with leftover bones. And they love to throw fresh herbs into anything to get masses of flavour. Today, I'm recooking a corn and poblano chilli soup. Poblano chilies look like this, almost like a green pepper, except they've got a lovely fiery bite to them. If you can't get hold of them in the shops, just use a green pepper and a green chilli. So in my pan here, I've got sweated down some onions, garlic and celery. And all those vegetables are going to really add wonderful body to the soup. And I'm going to add even more flavour. And this is what I love about Mexican food. A lot of people think it's really stodgy, that it's full of black beans. But when you travel around the markets in Mexico, you see amazing varieties of vegetables. And they love to use masses of fennel, celery, chilies and herbs to pack in flavour. I'm just going to use half a bulb. And fennel gives it a lovely anise flavour. Very easy soup, just chuck in all the ingredients. Now for some fresh herbs. Now I've got some coriander here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up the actual root of the coriander, which is where all the flavour is. And we want all that lovely coriander flavour to go into the base of the soup. In the roots go. And now finally for the corn. Now I like to use fresh corn. You literally just take a knife, run it down the side, and just cut off the kernels, like so. So I've got the equivalent of 3 corn on the cobs here, all these wonderful kernels, and I'm only going to add 2/3 of them because I want to save 1/3 for the garnish, which we're going to fry up, and it's going to look and taste delicious. And I'm going to sweat all these vegetables down for about 10 minutes so that all their natural sugars come out and all the flavour is allowed to develop. Once that's done, add some stock and simmer for half an hour until the vegetables are soft. So now I'm going to use exactly the same method here as I would do to make homemade tortilla chips. And it's dead easy, but the flavour is incredible. I just fry tiny strips of tortilla until crisp. And this is such a lovely way to garnish a soup. And it's almost like the Mexican equivalent of a crouton. Just chuck them all in. Stir them around. And there we are. They're crisp and golden, ready in a minute. And that is going to look great on top of the soup. So my vegetables are all soft and ready to go into the blender. And we're just going to whiz it up. There we are. So now all I'm going to do is season it with some lime juice. And the lime juice not only seasons it, but it really lifts all the flavours up. And we're going to pour some of it in, and look at that wonderful colour. It's a lovely, thick, creamy soup. Now I'm going to stir in a little bit of sour cream. Which will give it a lovely silky finish. And for my topping, I've got my extra corn I saved up. And all I've done is I've fried it on a really, really high heat with a tiny bit of chopped shallot. And it's got this lovely caramelised colour. And it's a sweet and lovely finish to the soup. And then a few of these little tortilla chips, which look so impressive. And then finally, a tiny bit of extra coriander chopped up. And although this is a homey soup and took no time at all to make, I think you'll agree it looks incredible. And there we are, my corn and poblano chili soup. Tortas are a type of generous, meaty sandwich which is sold in torta stands everywhere in Mexico. Mention tortas to any Mexican and they will start telling you exactly how they like theirs and where you can buy the best ones. And some of the best ones can be found at the wrestling stadium. All sports fans love a good snack, and for a sport as huge as Mexican
me after the break when I'll be making my version of this Mexican club sandwich and crunching my way through some tasty treats. Welcome back. I'm Chef Thomasina Myers, and I'm travelling around Mexico to find out more about the food. Later, I'll be making a delicious dessert, plums poached in a rose syrup. But first, here's my Mexican club sandwich, the torta. When I was growing up, we loved sandwiches so much at home. We'd have sandwich making competitions. But the torta, the Mexican club sandwich, would have blown all our attempts out of the water. Every serious torta starts life with a layer of refried beans. Cook some soaked black beans until tender, or use some ready-cooked ones. Drain off some of the excess liquid, and then give them a whiz. Then add the puree to some sweated onions, garlic and chilli. So now that my beans are done, I'm going to turn on my char grill. And it's really important to get this hot so that when the chorizo hits it, it really cooks well. The joy of a torta is it's crammed full of ingredients like refried beans, soft avocado. So you need a really sturdy bread roll. You can use a white baguette, or I like to use ciabatta because it's got that lovely airy inside. And it means you can get more filling crammed in to the middle. Now in Mexico they have this great trick where they pull out all the filling of the top part of the roll, leaving room for all the good stuff inside. I love that. Now for the chorizo, just going to cut it down the middle. You can fill a torta with almost anything, chicken, meat, vegetables, but I love it with chorizo because you get all the fat that comes out, which tastes so good in this sandwich. And it's filled with the spices and the paprika and the garlic that they put inside chorizo. And I'm going to cook this now until it's nice and marked and charred on each side and the fat has started oozing out. While that's cooking, I'm going to get the rest of my ingredients ready. A little bit of red onion. I just want a few really fine slices. Some lettuce leaves. What you can do is you can put in big slices of tomato. But what I've got here instead is I've got a salsa that I've already made up. So it's got tomato in it, coriander, red onion and some chili. So it's got lots of flavour and bite and some great freshly squeezed lime juice. And my chorizo's ready to turn. Lovely marks on the underside, and it's looking good. While the chorizo is cooking, it's let off some fat. So I'm just going to get my pastry brush, and I'm going to brush my bread roll with the fat from the chorizo. There we are. And I'm going to drizzle a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on as well. And my chorizo's ready, so I'm going to take it off. Pop it in my bowl. I'm going to put the bread right on that grill and just toast it for a little tiny bit. My bread is now lovely and toasted, char grilled. I've got my refried beans here, which is really meaty and delicious tasting. I'm just going to spoon a little bit on the base of my bread. Not too much, or it'll ooze out. Oh, there we are. Delicious. Now I need an avocado, and I'm just going to slice them open. What I like to do is scoop out the flesh, like so. Just add it on. Avocado, refried beans, chorizo. On my other side, lots of mayo. Fresh tomato salsa. And all these flavours together, they are fantastic. And finally, almost really to contain all the ingredients, the lettuce and a little bit of sliced red onion. And then you put the lid on and it's crammed with as much as you can fit in. So now I'm just going to cut it open. And it smells so good. Just dig in. This is Oaxaca, a city that lies in Mexico's Central Valleys. It's famous for food, and one type in particular. Chapulines, otherwise known as grasshoppers. You might think it's a really weird idea eating insects, and I must admit the first time I tried them I thought it was a bit gross. But once you get over that thought, they're incredibly delicious and they're full of protein. So these ones are natural, no flavouring at all. These ones have got chili all over them, they're really, really good. These ones are with mojo de ajo, lots of garlic, they're absolutely delicious. And these ones are just sal limon, salt and lime. And apparently the biggest one tastes the best. Look at that one. Delicious. But if grasshoppers don't float your boat, my poached plums and rose syrup will. Whether it's making soft drinks with hibiscus flowers, soups with courgette flowers, or puddings with rose petals, the Mexicans love a bit of floral in their food. And rose petals are absolutely wonderful with plums. But this recipe, poaching fruit, works well with any fruit that's in season. Nectarines, peaches, pears, anything you like. So I'm going to put my pan on right now. And I'm going to put all my plums face down, like this. And the joy of this recipe is it's very little work, but the end result is not only beautiful, but it tastes absolutely wonderful. And to this pan, I'm going to add a little bit of water, so they have got some liquid to poach in. There we are. I'm going to sprinkle them with some icing sugar. And I like not to overdo the sugar too much, so the fruit is ever so slightly tart. And now for a little bit of rose syrup, which adds a wonderful colour and a little bit of the scent of rose petals. In it goes. And you can always add a few whole rose petals, which will also look really beautiful. Finally, all I need is my vanilla. Vanilla is originally from Mexico. It grows in the rainforest in Papantla in Veracruz, and it's got the most wonderful fragrance. It's kind of got a really subtle, haunting flavour, I always think, and it's so good in puddings. So I'm just going to put my knife in and run it down the middle so I can split it in half lengthways. And I'm just going to tuck it under some of these plums so I get all the lovely fragrance from it. There we are. All I need is a touch of sharpness for all that sweetness. So I've got a lime here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of zest in. You don't want any of the bitter white pith, just the green zest. And the juice, just to add sparkle to all the flavours. And it smells fantastic. So now we're going to cover it because we don't want to lose any of that moisture in the pan. So I'm going to cover it with some greaseproof paper. So I'm just cutting out a square. And I need to fold it over. And just fold it over 3 more times, like so, till you make a dart shape. Now you put the tip of your dart into the middle of the pan and just measure out to the edge like this, and that's where I need to cut. And this is what French chefs call a cartouche, but it's really just a cover to keep the moisture in. And I'm going to poach these now for about 20 minutes until they're soft and tender. So my plums should be cooked by now. Let's have a look at these. That vanilla smells incredible, and they look fantastic. And look at that scarlet colour. Top it off with a dollop of creme fraiche. Serve with a couple of homemade biscuits. And finish with a bit of lime zest and a drizzle of the syrup.
And there we are, vanilla poached, rose-scented plums. It may be fruit, it may be simple, but it looks glorious. And it tastes good too.
Now, how can I go to Mexico without seeing their favourite sport? This is lucha libre, otherwise known as free wrestling.
These guys are jumping all over the place. I think they're full of red hot chili peppers.
The good guys are called los técnicos, and the bad guys are called los rudos. It's a great way to spend a Saturday afternoon. For selected recipes from this series, visit the Channel 5 website. Next time on Mexican Food Made Simple,
Mexicans love dancing almost as much as they love food.
Mission Mexican are giving away a spectacular holiday to Mexico for two, worth over £5,000. The prize includes some fantastic trips to explore the very best Mexico has to offer. All you have to do to enter is text Mexico to 65550, or you can visit channel5.com/Mexico competition for details of email entry. Text costs £1.50 plus a message at standard network rate. Lines close at midday on the date shown on screen and 3 days later for email entries. For rules and winners, go to channel5.com/win.
There'll be more cricket next Tuesday from 7, so Thomasina will be back with great Mexican food in 2 weeks. So then you're excited, we're excited, and there's not long to wait. The brand new season of CSI Miami premieres at 9, right after a fascinating look at our Olympic work in progress. 1 year to go, Building Stratford is next.